Hey, what I thought we could revamp, as in a part of my personal story. I'll tell you what had happened actually in arriving at VC equals WVCom. Okay, so during COVID times, we were running multiple communities and they were all skill based communities. So that clarity of community should be skill based and all those things were there. Um, and also because we were thinking how to optimize for productivity, we created a separate community, and part of that productivity became uh, well-being later. Okay, from productivity to well-being, so that was a separate community, but these two were never like linked together. Okay, because within the skill-based communities, what we thought was, okay, people will come log their time. It was kind of looked at like a company only, right? You come, you learn something, and then you'll get projects and gigs. And even community building, as you must have seen in the South Commons evolution, even community building or org building was not part of the narrative initially. Then we brought in the third layer, because then only then it can become autonomous, right? Because people have to build the org. Okay, but now I want to talk more about this W and VCom being separate. Because what had happened was, because we didn't make well-being as part of the communities, people didn't really felt like they were part of something bigger. Okay, they were there to just learn and like make money or whatever within the communities. And within the W, as in within the other community where we were trying to track well-being, this was not linked as well. So then we realized this two has to be together. This cannot be independent. Okay, and so this was the same time I was also making the offline installation and realized that so initially the installation for the protocol was very linear. Okay, there was one round which said value capture, and below that we had start time, end time, activity, proof of activity, and a well-being node. And then that leads to, like in a linear way, it leads to the next one, which is the well-being infinity. And from there we would hang physiology, emotions, feelings, thoughts, habits, performance. And then that infinity would lead to the third one, which was like a round and three dots, because that's the logo of South Commons, which is the three dots because it's learning, earning, and community building, right? So so it is very linear. Okay, so now if you go back, because the reason why we arrived at is because we were looking at these things as abstracted words, right? So for example, value capture is a function of start time, end time, activity, proof of activity, and well-being node. And well-being is a function of physiology, emotions, feelings, thoughts, habits, performance. And performance, or VCom, is a function of learning, earning, and org building or community building. You get? So it was just words, and from the words I was reading this book called Thinking as Computation, and they had very clearly said how thinking happens in terms of the language or the vocabulary that we know. And from there, for us to arrive at math, if you are really thinking about quantifying thoughts and everything, then the words has to be quantified, right? So for that, the missing link could be images or symbols, right? So then I made VC can be written as V and a curved C tied to the V itself, right? And well-being, which is the 6 words that we had, can be replaced with infinity. And learning, earning, community building, which is the 3 words, can be tied to one simple symbol, which is a circle with 3 dots inside, right? Then it became easy to work with. Like, okay, I'm just looking at 3 symbols, how do I put it together? Then it dawned on me that okay, it cannot be W plus. That's what we were doing. Even the installation was linear. Then it became more like VC equals W VCom, W into VCom, which is multiplication, which means dependency. Now that is core for this chapter, because if we are also measuring only the value of the performance node within a community, then we are not any different than a typical collective, right? Which also does that only. You give some output. Obviously, everyone is learning on their job, and without they realize or not, they are all building the company only, right? So you could have equity in the company and whatnot, right? So the crux is this, which is every time log by a person is tied to their well-being score. The moment we captured that, it just blew my mind. I'm like, oh fuck, yeah, this is it. Because it became very simple also, right? We're not complicating it. Like E equals MC square. Everyone remembers it. Similarly, we want people to remember VC equals WV com, right? Now this also leads to the next one, which is instead of VCOM, now we are saying SL into B, right? Skill level into base rate kind of a thing. I think we have to abstract it out to say it's VCOM, because by this chapter, this is the most important chapter of the book, by this as in day, right? Week 3, day 4. By the end of this, people should understand what these 3 variables mean and the story behind it and why it's the future of economics. And that's why we are calling it the last equation, right? LAST. And when I say economics, I'm talking about economic systems. And obviously this is the flow variable, right? Like okay, DVF and all is fine, but if the flow is not leading up to the creation of those stock variables, then everything that we have done would have gone for a waste, right? Because GDP is there, DCF is there, we'll also come up with DVF kind of thing. The flow variable, and later in the book we will map this flow variable to everything, because this can lead to GDP also, this can lead to market also, market adoption, right? So yeah.